Now I'm going to show you how to do a picture walk. I know that this has been a difficult concept for several people in our class, and so I wanted us to practice this. I wanted to model this for you again, and then I'd really like you to have the opportunity to practice it as well. We were going to do that in class tonight, but since we don't have class, I'd like you to take a leveled reader that you may have, if you don't have any handy for you, in a beginner level, which would be C through G. Go ahead and take out your leveled readers from PALS, and you could go ahead and use Pre-Primer B or Pre-Primer C, and those would both fit nicely into the beginner category, or the primer would also work. That's a passage, so we wouldn't do a picture walk for that. So I'd like to model for you a picture walk for the book, Lots of Helpers, and so that you know what the book says, I'm going to go ahead and read it to you first, and then I will go back and do the picture walk, so that you are familiar with the book so you know what words I'm pointing out. However, when you are working with a student, of course you do the picture walk first and then have them read the book. So don't get confused by that. This book is called Lots of Helpers. Lots of Helpers. My mom is my helper. She helps me put on my boots. My grandmother is my helper. She helps me get on the bus. The bus driver is a helper. He drives the bus and takes me to school. The crossing guard is a helper. He helps me cross the street. My teacher is my helper. She helps me take off my backpack. She helps me read my book. My dad is my helper. He helps me pick up my room. I am a helper too. I help my little brother. So that's what the book actually says. Now I'm going to go back and do a picture walk like I would for a student who's getting ready to read this book for the first time. The title of this book is Lots of Helpers. And then, of course, I'd start out by asking the child what kinds of helpers, who she thinks the helpers would be. Who are some of the helpers that you think are going to help this girl with her day? And see what the child says. Who helps you? Who helps you at home or who helps you at school, to get them thinking about people in their lives who help them. And then for the actual picture walk, we'd go through and we'd say, who do you think this woman is in the picture? What is she doing to help the girl? And their kids are probably going to say the mom, and if they don't say mom, then point them to the word mom in the text, and you'd say, this word says mom, it's the mom. But then you want the children to vocalize what the mom is doing. So you can say, look at the picture. What is the mom doing to help the girl? And then they might say she's putting on her boots or something about boots. And you want to make sure that you use the word put, because put is not a word that beginners can sound out, because if you sound out, it sounds like put. So if the children says, she helps her with her boots, you would say, yes, she helps put on her boots. And make sure you use the word put in the sentence. Then for this page, you'd say, who do you think this old lady is? Who do you think this old woman is? And if you tell the students the word old, then that gets them thinking, oh, grandma. And then if they say grandma, you can say, yes, I think it is. In the book, they call her grandmother, and point to that word so that they can see that it says grandmother. What does grandmother help her do? And then they should say, get on the bus. This is a level C, by the way. So it's for the very beginning of the beginner stage. And then it points out this man. Well, who is this man? What is he doing to help the girl? And again, you want the kids to say that he's the bus driver. And what does a bus driver do? And the children are going to say drive the bus. And you can say, yeah, the school bus driver drives the bus so he can take you to school. And try to use as much of that language as you can, just naturally when you're talking to the child. Oh, do you know who this man is right here? Can you tell what he's doing to help? Most of the students, when I've read this with my kids, did not know what a crossing guard was, because we do not have crossing guards. But they could tell that he was helping the girl across the street. So after they told me that he's helping the girl across the street, I pointed out the words and say, yes, he's called a crossing guard, because he helps students cross the street. Who is this woman right here? The teacher? What is the teacher helping her do? Oh, what is the teacher helping her do on this page? Do you think she's still at school? The kids are going to say, no, she's at home. Who is that man? What is he helping her do? And this page talks about how she's a helper too. Don't show the students the last page, so we can leave that for a prediction. Who do you think this girl is going to help? And see what the students say. They might say their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister. It doesn't matter. Whoever they say they might help, then you can say, we'll have to read and find out. Go ahead and read lots of helpers, and let's read to find out who the girl can help. So that would be a good picture walk for a level C book where the student requires more support. For a book such as a level F, Curious George Visits the Woods, you do not need to give as strong of a picture walk. You can provide less support for the students because they're able to sound out more words, they have more sight words, and they're able to read more quickly. So, for Curious George Visits the Woods, I might start by asking the students if they have ever been camping before. It looks like Curious George and the Man in the Yellow Hat are going camping. Have you ever been camping? What might you see if you went to visit the woods? And then you can go ahead and read. This is a level E. I thought it was an F, but it's an E. So the students will need more picture walk than people reading F. But you can see it's still more advanced than lots of helpers. Curious George Visits the Woods. Oh, it looks like George went camping. Went is a word that students may or may not be able to sound out at this point. It has a nasal in it, so some students will not be able to read that yet. You want them to know that this story is written in past tense about something that already happened. So you can start out by pointing out that it says went. Oh look, he went camping. This is a story about something that already happened to him. Because then they won't say he gets in the tent. He gets this, he gets that, he goes here. They will use the past tense. Oh, it looks like George got something. And try to use the words as much as you can. It says George got a bucket for water. His friend got the tent. So you can say, it looks like George got something. What did George get? Oh, it looks like the man with the yellow hat got something too. What is he holding in his hand? So try to focus on that word got so that they get it in past tense. Oh, what did George see here? What else did George see? And then just have the students name the things that George saw. As you can see in the book, it lists birds, bears, trees, and river. They should be able to read most of those words. The only word that might give them trouble on that page would be saw, because that's tricky. And you can say, on this page, it talks about all the animals that George saw. Here's the word saw. Uh-oh, look at George now. Is he near the campground? Do you think he saw the tent? What happened to George? And they're going to know that he got lost. And then, what's he doing now? And they're going to say climbing a tree? I wonder why he climbed up that tree. What is he doing here? And they're going to say he's looking and looking. You can say, yep, George looked and looked. And you might want to point out that word because it's past tense, which will be a little bit trickier for them. And then the text says, but he saw a campfire. But you don't need to tell the students that. You can just say, look right here. What do you think that is? And direct them to smoke. What do you think smoke could be coming from? And probably they're going to say a fire. You can say, oh, I bet it was a campfire from the campground, do you think? And then right here it says, George climbed from tree to tree. So again, just ask the students, what is George doing? They're going to say he's climbing. You can say, yep, he climbed in the tree. And then you say, how do you think the story is going to end? Let's read to find out if George ever makes it back to his friend. And then you shut the book and say, go ahead and read Curious George Visits the Woods. Now, to satisfy your curiosity, because I know you're dying to find out if Curious George gets back to the campground, the good news is that George got to the campfire and he got back to his friend. And look, they're even roasting marshmallows. How fun. So I hope this helps you understand how to do a better picture walk, being very explicit for the students who need it, and hopefully you can see the difference between a picture walk for a level C, where every word is talked about if it's outside the pattern, versus Curious George, where you went over difficult words, but not every single word that was different on the page. And that would be even more true if your student is reading higher than E. So, go ahead and practice a picture walk with a book that you have.